Hi, friends. Welcome to Pieces Here. I'm Avis Kalfsbeek, and we're taking a little rest between podcast series to help Kitty O'Compost improve her reporter voice for peace. Kitty is a character I made up who's a little offbeat, a satiric smarty pants, and she's getting ready to report on a big story about peace, AI, and the future of the commons. At the end of these Kitty Reads episodes, and maybe longer, you'll also hear the Next Peacelands, a roll call of global armed conflicts and arms exports. If that's too much for today, it's okay to end early. But if you can stay, I hope you'll let it deepen your resolve for peace. As usual, you can find the words and books I make for peace at aviskalfsbeek.com, and podcast music is by the talented Javier Peque Rodriguez. Listen for the peace. Now over to Kitty. Today's reading takes us back to the source, to Plato, a fellow who loved nothing more than to think out loud. He was the kind of conversationalist who turned every casual back and forth into a little lantern of philosophy. His writing isn't about handing down commandments, bless his heart. Instead, he leans on questions much more than answers, letting ideas knock gently against each other like rocks in a tumbler just to see what kind of truth might polish and rise to the surface. We're looking at Book 11 of his treatise, The Laws, which is Plato's long, serious attempt to build a perfectly sensible city from the ground up. And tucked right inside the opening, there's a fascinating section on the core principle of justice, the law of Treasure-Trove. Now, Plato wasn't just sitting up in some ivory tower. He was a practical thinker, considering the very real temptations that arise when a person comes across property that isn't theirs, whether it's hidden treasures in the earth or a lost item left by the roadside. He wanted to know, does a simple chance of gain override our conscience? He demands we reflect on the simple law of take not up that which was not laid down by thee, and he argues that gaining virtue is a far better possession than gaining wealth. We'll read just a small bit today, enough to catch the earnest tone of his warning and see how an ancient philosopher worried about the same kinds of compromises that keep our modern newspapers running with scandal. Well, sugar, I could read a travel diary from a far-off place or the schedule for Tuesday's recycling pickup. Peace don't fuss about the source. It asks us to pause and to notice that nobody, for goodness sake, is holding a gosh darn gun. Following is an excerpt from Book 11 of the Laws by Plato. Book 11. In the next place, dealings between man and man require to be suitably regulated. The principle of them is very simple. Thou shalt not, if thou canst help, that's tail stretching, touch that which is mine, or remove the least thing which belongs to me without my consent. And may I be of a sound mind, and do to others as I would that they should do to me. First, let us speak of treasure-trove. May I never pray the gods to find the hidden treasure, which another has laid up for himself and his family, he not being one of my ancestors, nor lift, if I should find such a treasure. And may I never have any dealings with those who are called diviners, and who, in any way or manner, counsel me to take up the deposit entrusted to the earth, for I should not gain so much in the increase of my possessions, if I take up the prize, as I should grow in justice and virtue of soul, if I abstain. And this will be a better possession to me than the other in a better part of myself. For the possession of justice in the soul is preferable to the possession of wealth. And of many things it is well said, move not the immovables. And this may be regarded as one of them. And we shall do well to believe the common tradition which says that such deeds prevent a man from having a family. Now, as to him who is careless about having children, and regardless of the legislator taking up that which neither he deposited, nor any ancestor of his without the consent of the depositor, violating the simplest and noblest of laws, which was the enactment of no mean man. Take not up that which was not laid down by thee. Of him, I say, who despises these two legislators, and takes up not some small matter which he has not deposited, but perhaps a great heap of treasure, what he ought to suffer at the hands of the gods, God only knows. But I would have the first person who sees him go and tell the wardens of the city, if the occurrence has taken place in the city, or if the occurrence has taken place in the agora, he shall tell the wardens of the agora. If in the country, he shall tell the wardens of the country and their commanders. When information has been received, the city shall send it to Delphi, and whatever the god answers about the money and the remover of the money, that the city shall do in obedience to the oracle. The informer, if he be a free man, shall have the honor of doing rightly, and he who informs not, the dishonor of doing wrongly. And if he be a slave who gives information, let him be freed, as he ought to be, by the state which shall give his master the price of him. But if he do not inform, he shall be punished with death. Next in order shall follow a similar law, which shall apply equally to matters great and small. If a man happens to leave behind him some part of his property, whether intentionally or unintentionally, let him who may come upon the left property suffer it to remain, reflecting that such things are under the protection of the goddess of ways and are dedicated to her by the law. But if anyone defies the law and takes the property home with him, let him, if the thing is of little worth, and the man who takes it a slave, be beaten with many straps by him who meets him, being a person of not less than 30 years of age. Or if he is a free man, in addition to being thought a mean person and despiser of the laws, let him pay 10 times the value of the treasure which he has moved to the lever. And if someone accuses another of having anything which belongs to him, whether little or much, and the other admits that he has this thing, but denies that the property in dispute belongs to the other, if the property be registered with the magistrates according to the law, the claimant shall summon the possessor, who shall bring it before the magistrates, and when it is brought into the court, it will be registered in the public registers, to which the litigants it belonged. Let him take it and go his way. Or if the property be registered as belonging to someone who is not present, whoever will offer sufficient surety on behalf of the absent person that he will give it up to him shall take it away as the representative of the other. But if the property which is deposited be not registered with the magistrates, let it remain until the time of trial with 3 of the eldest of the magistrates. And if it be an animal which is deposited, then he who loses the suit shall pay the magistrates for its keep, and they shall determine the cause within 3 days. Thank you for listening and allowing me to practice Kitty's reporting voice for the big story ahead. Now stay with me a few minutes longer if you're able for the next Peacelands. Podcasts usually have ads you fast forward through. This one doesn't. Instead, I invite you to pause here just for a few minutes and listen with an open heart, not to memorize the numbers, not to analyze the politics. As I read each conflict, I'll say aloud, "Peace is here." You're welcome to say it with me or just think it quietly. If you'd like to read, sing, or paint your own version of the Next Peacelands, or tell me how to say peace is here in your language, I'd love to hear it. This is the Next Peacelands. Not for doom and gloom, not for pity or sadness, we speak and we listen to these geographic locations of wars and the numbers of deaths of human souls to help put the great disarmament, the period in which we live now, and peace at the forefront of our daily consciousness and actions. Following are the major and minor armed conflicts, each with over 1,000 deaths in the current year, based on the data available as of December 2025. Russo-Ukrainian War since 2014, 400,000 cumulative fatalities, 69,177 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Arab-Israeli conflict since 1948, 263,000 cumulative fatalities, 25,100 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Sudanese conflicts since 2008, 1,400,000 cumulative fatalities, 19,867 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Islamist insurgencies in the Maghreb Sahel since 2002, 464,000 cumulative fatalities, 19,069 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Myanmar conflicts since 1948, 199,000 cumulative fatalities, 13,411 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Mexican drug war since 2006, 417,000 cumulative fatalities, 7,790 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Congolese conflicts since 1996, 211,600 cumulative fatalities, 6,860 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Ethiopian civil conflict since 2018, 610,000 cumulative fatalities, 5,563 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Somali civil war since 1991, over 1 million cumulative fatalities, 9,872 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Syrian conflict spillovers since 2011, 656,000 cumulative fatalities, 7,745 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Afghan conflict since 1978, 2,800,000 cumulative fatalities, 3,632 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Ecuadorian security crisis since 2018, 9,230 cumulative fatalities, 2,740 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Yemeni civil war crisis since 2011, 382,000 cumulative fatalities, 2,598 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Colombian-Venezuelan conflicts since 1964, 457,000 cumulative fatalities, 2,482 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Haitian crisis since 2018, 20,000 cumulative fatalities, 2,480 deaths year-to-date. Peace is here. Does that mean the countries that weren't mentioned are more peaceful? Some are, some are not. Here are the world's largest weapons exporters according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute's Arms Transfers Database. These numbers use TIV, the Trend Indicator Value, a measure based on the production cost of military equipment. The cumulative TIV figures you will hear represent the total volume of military resources transferred since 1950, while the percentage is based on the most recent 5-year trend. United States, cumulative exports of $729 billion, accounting for 43% of total global exports. Peace is here. France, cumulative exports of $136 billion, 9.6% of total global exports. Peace is here. Russia, cumulative exports of 155 billion, 7.8% of total global exports. Peace is here. China, cumulative exports of 61 billion, 6% of total global exports. Peace is here. Germany, cumulative exports of 90 billion, 5.6% of total global exports. Peace is here. Italy, cumulative exports of 37 billion, 4.8% of total global exports. Peace is here. United Kingdom, cumulative exports of 144 billion, 3.6% of total global exports. Peace is here.